I just want to remind everybody I've started recording.
So welcome, everyone. I am going to be chairing the meeting for the first portion of tonight. And Happy New Year, I guess. I know it's 27 days in, but Happy New Year to everyone, as it's the first time we're connecting. I'm just going to do a few housekeeping items. A reminder that when you're speaking, to turn on your microphone. And if you're not speaking, if you could just remain on mute. And when someone moves in seconds, if you can please say your names for the recording and for the minutes. And we don't have hard copies available there at the boardroom, but Megs is showcasing the agenda on your screen. So hopefully you're able to see that. If you have any problems seeing it, please just let us know. And I guess at this point, I'll call the meeting to order. I don't have the gavel, but imagine I have a gavel to call it to order. And we'll begin with item 1.1, which is our opening prayer and land acknowledgement. So if you could lead me in the sign of our faith. And again, the prayer is on the screen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. We come together in hope from different community groups, answering the same call to surface, pieces of the same puzzle. We come together in gratitude for the trust placed in us, for the opportunity to serve, pieces of the same puzzle. We come together in respect, aware of our diversity, willing to work for the good, pieces of the same puzzle. We come together in awe of the wonder and beauty of each of God's children, pieces of the same puzzle. We come together in God's name as we work together toward the same goal. Each piece of the puzzle begins to fit neatly into place, creating a breathtaking picture of love, compassion, courage, and grace. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. And Max is already on it. We're going to now listen to our land acknowledgement.
As we know it today
is rich in the history and modern traditions
of many First Nations and the Métis.
From the lands of the Anishinaabe
to the Attawandaron,
the Haudenosaunee,
and the Métis.
These lands surrounding the Great Lake
are steeped in Indigenous history.
As we gather today
on these treaty lands,
our Catholic social teachings
call us in solidarity
with our Indigenous brothers and sisters
to honor and respect
the four directions,
lands, waters, plants, animals, and ancestors
that walked before us.
All these wonderful elements of creation exist,
gifted to us by our Creator God.
We acknowledge and thank
the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation
for being stewards of this traditional territory.
So at this time, I'll ask if we could review the agenda and have a approver and a seconder.
I can move it, Cassandra.
Okay, so Brenda will move.
And Jessica, I'll second it.
Awesome, thank you. And item 2 is declarations of conflict of interest. If there are any declarations of conflict of interest, now is the time to declare. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3, presentations, and invite Denise Coley. She wears many hats, as we all know, in our board, and today she'll be speaking about the new Tier 1 SLP supports, the expanding expression, and Snapchat. So, Denise, take it away.
Thank you. Really excited to be here to share these programs and resources with everybody. The next slide, Mags, we'll just review. So this isn't new. This is sort of giving you some context of where these resources fit in. So we're still working within our special education tiered model of intervention. And what we're talking about today really fits under the foundational good for all. We are noticing a real shift in the speech and language skills that our children are coming into kindergarten with. Probably a combination of, pandemic and increased screen time at a young age. And we're finding that a lot of children need some support in developing their oral language skills. So we've really sought out some programming and resources that can be used class-wide to help all children. On the next slide, you'll see this is the first resource that we've brought into the board. It's called the Expanding Expression Tool. And this program was developed by Sarah Smith and SLP. It supports the achieving pillar of our strategic plan by supporting oral language development and by extension, literacy, because spoken language supports the development of reading and writing. Expanding expression is a multi-sensory approach to support oral and written expression, vocabulary, comprehension, defining and describing, and making associations. Students learn to give information in an organized way that supports not only vocabulary development, but also aligns with the writing strands of informational and expository text, and to increase the use of descriptive writing in narratives. Each school was provided resources to run the program, including a large expanding expression tool. So that's this sort of beaded rope. And they were also given a small one that the students could use, and every school was also given a manual. Larger schools were given a couple of kits to put into their library that teachers could check out. So on the next slide, you'll see a chart of what each bead stands for. So this is what the kiddos learn over the 6-week program that's been developed. They learn what each of the different beads means. And how to use these beads as a reference to sort of organize what they're going to talk about. So green means group, blue means do, white with the eye is what does it look like, the wooden bead is what is it made of, pink parts, white is where, and then the orange is what else do I know with a question mark on it. And we start off by introducing all of this through a song. And it's absolutely adorable to see the kiddos do this song. So the next slide, we have one of our speech language pathologists, Sharon Wilson, sort of leading the class in the song. And Mags will play the video.
Mystery. 3, 2, 1. Green, blue, blue, blue. What does it look like? What is it made of? Pink hearts, white, red.
I was on a school visit to St. Paul, which is one of Sharon's schools, and she said, you got to come into the kindergarten class and see this. And as soon as we walked into the classroom, 4 students ran up to her and just started singing the song. So they had it memorized and they just immediately started singing it, which is great because this is actually a tool that they can use throughout the rest of their school career when they're having to talk or write about any topic. So what we've done is we've created, again, a 6-week program that schools were invited to sign up for. And actually, we had 119 classrooms sign up in September for this program. It's being delivered by our speech language pathologists and our communicative disorders assistants. One of our amazing CDAs, Andrea Borge, took the lead in creating PowerPoints for each week. And these PowerPoints have also been put on the early years online learning system, which is sort of where a lot of resources for our ECEs and kindergarten teachers are housed, so that in future years, teachers can access and run the program themselves. So you can see samples of the slides, that are in each week. And as you'll see on the next slide, all of the slides are interactive. So Mags is going to click through and you can see the slides move things around as children learn to talk about. This would be for, what group do things belong to? What category do things belong to? So you can see that if we're talking about something really simple, like a dog, you can talk about a dog is a pet, dogs play and bark, dogs can be big or small, they can be black, white, brown, or gray, they have fur or hair, they can have, different parts like a tail and paws, they are found in people's houses, and some dogs, what else do I know? Some dogs may provide services to people who have disabilities. What you can see is what that grows to when kiddos are older. So grades, 3, is they can also take a topic and use those same different categories to write a paragraph. So if they're writing paragraph about Saturn, they can talk about what group it's in. Saturn is a planet. What does it do? It orbits the sun. What does it look like? From the Earth, it's yellowish and is one of the brightest things in the sky. What is it made of? It's made of hydrogen. What are the parts? It has rings and has lots of moons. Where is it? It's the 6th planet from the sun. And what else do I know? So they can add in some other information. A year on Saturn is 29 years on Earth. And it was really kind of interesting because at our kindergarten open house, I had a display up of speech and language materials, and I had the big beads out, and a family came through with one of their kiddos who's starting JK in September, but they also had an older daughter who's in grade 3. And she actually was really, when I explained what this was and gave her some examples, she was really interested. And her mom said this would be a great way. Your teacher's always telling you to put in more detail. This is something that you could remember when you have to put more detail into your writing. So it's really neat to see how this program can grow with students. And we've already got some grade 1 teachers who are interested in learning about it as well. So we have a cohort of kindergarten children who almost all of them will have had this program. It'll be interesting to support it, as they move through our primary and intermediate grades. So, and then this is a video that a teacher sent us of kids doing it on their own. So I really love that, this is something that the children like enough that they're doing on their own. And Amanda, that's amazing that your kiddo was one of them. That's awesome. The other resource that we're launching next month is called Snack Chat. And this is really a tool that we're hoping educators use to support conversation and interaction during snack time and lunch. It was created by another one of our CDAs, Bianca McHugh. And we know that talking at meal times allows for children to develop something that's called decontextualized language. So it's a chance to talk about things that aren't necessarily in the here or now, which develops higher level language skills that are related to later ability to use academic language in school. It also gives them a chance to practice social communication skills. So teachers, educators will receive an infographic about what is Snack Chat and why it's important and different ways to use some of the resource. And then on the next slide, you'll see they'll also have a digital bank of activities that they can put out on the table to spark discussion. So if you have a superpower, what would it be? And then some different leading questions that they can use to talk about superpowers that the teacher can just sort of kickstart conversations, and hopefully the kiddos can take it from there. In addition, we're going to give teachers something that we call a conversation wheel. So if you, on the next slide, and this is a chance for students and teachers to co-create topics or ideas that they might want to talk about and put them onto a spinner that you can see on the next slide. And then they can have that on the smart board, they can spin it, and then whatever topic they land on, they can be their topic of conversation for the day. So we're, either what would you rather, or, different ideas that the students have of things to put on the spinner. So those are the resources. Are there any questions? Yes, Brenda.
So no questions, Denise. I love it. The first part gave me flashbacks to ABT therapy. It was like, what color is the ball? The ball is round and the ball bounces, and right. But having said that,
all that's good stuff.
All that stuff is good stuff. And so, so a lot of the stuff that, is taught through that is applicable to everybody all the time to build that language piece. So, I love seeing that, because that's such a big opportunity for kids to grow that vocabulary and to have those conversations. And so that was just a comment on that. I love that. Like, as you were talking, I was like, and the water is cold and the water is wet. But the other comment that I had, or the question I had is, I love that snack chat. I think that's an amazing idea. I love that because everybody's sort of on a level playing field at that point, right? They're just everyone eats snack. They're kind of at that. Will there be opportunities for the teachers using it to maybe modify some of those conversation starters? If there's a student that is having a hard time communicating and maybe they're really into soccer, or maybe they're really into something else, will those educators be looking to maybe have some of those as conversation starting points on the table, like the superhero one?
Absolutely. Like we have, I mean, that superhero one is one. I think Bianca created 20 to try and really capture that breadth of interest. But if teachers came back and said, look, we need some visuals to support a different topic, then we would make those visuals for them and add them to our bank.
I love that. I love that. Great work. That's all amazing.
Thank you.
Don't see any other questions. So thanks so much again, Denise, for that update. And I'm sitting here again, smiling at the singing and the sounds of kindergarten. And so just very fortunate for your leadership and for the team and their dedication. So thank you very much. Moving on, I'm still chairing here. The next item, number 4, is the approval of the minutes. So hopefully you've had a chance to review the package, but if not, rapid speed, the minutes are being flashed before your eyes on the screen. And if you've had a chance to review, we do need an approver and a seconder for the minutes.
This is Rick. I'll move it.
Thank you, Rick.
It's Trish.
And Trish, perfect. Okay. Next item is item 5, business arising from previous meetings. So, the ONSIS report. They changed the format for ONSIS, so that's been fun. So that's still outstanding. I'm hoping before the end of this year, I'll be able to provide you with a summary of the data that was presented and accepted. We keep getting, feedback required and clarification required on the ONSIS. I don't know if other boards are having the same opportunity for learning and growth, but we are working through the ONSIS process this year. And I don't believe there's any other items on that report. So we're going to move on to item 6, unless there's any questions about that. Okay, so item number 6 is policy review. I can say that last policy review, the policy on pertaining to protection of children, the CAS one was passed. The procedure was also updated. So thank everyone for your feedback on that. The next policy that we have under review that SEAC feedback is requested is May 13th. It's the student mental health and well-being, and it's linked in the SO report. So if you're not sure which policy that is, you can find it there. I keep it in that section as well. I don't know if there's any questions about that. All right, so here we are. Item number 7, and forgive me, I have all my screens open. Megs has been very organized and provided me with all my scripts here. So I'm going to just make that larger. Perfect. So we will now proceed with the election of the chair and the vice chair of SEAC for the period of January 2025 to December 2025. Should a vote by ballot become necessary this evening, Denise will act as a scrutineer. It will be an email process, and we'll provide the email in the chat should we get to or have the need for the ballots to be tabulated, as we are in a virtual setting. So the first item is a call for nomination for chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term of January 2025 to December 2025. I am officially calling the nominations for the chair of Special Education Advisory Committee for the term of January 2025 to December 2025. So
Hi,
Do
it's
we have-
Amanda. I'd like to nominate Brenda Agnew as chair.
Okay, thank you. And do we have a seconder? I saw Trisha's hand.
Yeah, I'll second that actually, if you don't mind.
Okay, wonderful. So I will then ask Brenda Agnew, do you accept the nomination?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Oh, sorry. Thank you, Brenda. The next question is, are there any other nominations for the chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term January 25 to December 2025? And I am now making a final call for nominations. Chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term January 2025 to December 2025. Hearing no other nominations, it gives me great pleasure to confirm Brenda Agnew will be the chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term January 2025 to December 2025. Congratulations, Brenda. I invite you, if you'd like, to say a few words at this time.
I have no words. But thank you very much. I'll just continue to try and do the best job that I can. So thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure being on this committee. I really, really love it. So thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, we are very fortunate to have your leadership continue. But I still have to be the chair, and I'm going to now go on to the vice chair before
You
I turn
can
it
keep
over.
doing the chair. You're doing a great job.
So now we will proceed with the election of the vice chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term January 2025 to December 2025. I am officially calling for nominations for the vice chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term of January 2025 to December 2025. Brenda? You're on mute.
You're muted.
I would love to nominate Rick for vice chair. I think he's done a great job, and I would love to put that forward for consideration.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Jessica Lim, I see your hand raised.
I second Rick.
Okay. Rick, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I'll accept.
Wonderful. We'll proceed. Are there any other nominations for the vice chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term January 2025 to December 2025? And I'm now making a final call for nominations. Hearing no other nominations, this is an opportunity for me to confirm that Rick will be the vice chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the term January 2025 to December 2025. Congratulations, Rick. Is there anything you'd like to say at this time?
No, just thank you for confidence to nominate me, and I'll just happy to keep doing support and advocating for the kids through our work here at the committee. So thanks so much.
Thank you. And I will be biased and say that you make a dynamic duo, and congratulations to you both. So thank you. I believe at this point, I turn over the rest of the meeting to the chair. Take it away, Brenda.
Thank you so much. You did such a great job. Honestly, you can feel free to continue. But honestly, no, happy to take over from here. So thanks, Cassandra, for leading it up to this point. And thank you everybody again for this opportunity. So just moving along to item number 8 then is our board committee updates. And I'm going to make a call for updates. I don't know if we have any updates from any of the committees that we currently have representation on, but I did want to, before that, just thank Maria. I don't think she's on the call, but I wanted to thank Maria. She's put her name forward to be our SEAC representative for the homeschool parish committee. So that's fantastic. So thank you to Maria for that. Trish has put her name forward to be the SEAC representative for our bullying prevention intervention committee. So thank you, Trish, for that. Oh, Rhonda's trying to get in there. So thank you. I appreciate that these committees always take a little bit extra time. So grateful as always if we can have representation on those committees from our members here at SEAC. And we've also got our parent engagement committee, which isn't exactly this, but we have that subcommittee starting up. So we will be having an initial meeting for that. So we hope to be able to report back to the larger SEAC committee once we've had that meeting. So I don't know, I don't think we've had any meetings recently that we need reports from. Am I missing anything on that, Cassandra? BPICS tomorrow.
Yep,
Mental
you're
health,
absolutely right.
we haven't had. Okay.
Yep, no,
Okay.
just based on the Christmas break and the startup with everything else, we haven't had any other meetings, so you haven't missed anything.
Okay. So we will have updates at our next one. And I also just want to continue to, encourage, I know our director is online and yourself, Cassandra, anybody else, if there's any committees that, that we currently have that we don't have SEAC representation on, if we can, just really continue to work to identify those and perhaps, we've just been missed or perhaps that wasn't initially part of a terms of reference and we can take a look at that. But, I think the ultimate goal would be to have as much SEAC representation as possible on any of our standing committees or any of our ad hoc committees. And so I'll continue to keep an eye on that and work with senior leadership for any of those opportunities that come up. And we'll continue to put those forward to anybody here on the committee that wants to participate. Sometimes there's just something that you have a specific interest in, and so that would be great. Okay, well, moving right along, this is super easy. So moving on to item number 9, which is communication to SEAC, and over to Trustee Powell for the trustee update.
Sure, I'm not muted as I start to talk. All right. Thank you, Chair. I think you guys are a dynamic duo, so that's great. Why fix it if it's, what is it? Why fix it if it's not broke? Anyway, okay. From the trustee table, there's a few highlights from our board meeting on January 21st. Just to let you know that our board meetings are now once a month as of January 2025. We just have one a month. So that's kind of nice. We condense it all. Director Klein presented his annual report for 23-24 school year or year, and the link can be shared. I actually sent Margaret the link, so afterwards we can just send these out for everyone. But there's some pretty cool highlights about what we've done in this last year, and thought it's interesting to peruse. But there's a lot in there, so I'm going to share that link. Another one that came up was our Human Rights and Equity Manager, Sita Jayaraman, presented a progress report on the anti-Black racism strategic plan. And this report was to outline the progress that is being made towards implementing recommendations by the board in 2024. The board didn't create these recommendations. These recommendations, were based on the anti-Black racism strategic plan report that was prepared by the legal firm Koski Minsky, and that was in December 2023. There were 17, just for some background information on that, there are 17 recommendations in the strategic plan proposed to be implemented over multiple years, anywhere from things like policy changes, data collection, hiring, retention, promotion, our curriculum, progressive discipline, student and staff support, as well as community outreach. And most of the recommendations have numerous action items to each of the specific recommendations. So there's multiple parts to it. In the first year since the release of this report and their recommendations, it's just over a third of the actions have either been fully or partially implemented. And there is now, they established a steering committee, which was one of the most significant recommendations that was implemented just recently. And the recommendations that have not been initiated relate to those that have significant financial implications. Obviously, we know we're in a budget tightening up year. So I know that the steering committee is going to be working on other ones that are not financially related or financially that have financial costs associated with it. They're going to be done at later stages of the plan. And I'm going to share again, we'll send it all together at the end, but on page 55, I'll make a note of that too. On page 55 is our Human Rights Equity Manager, Sita Jayaraman, is her report. So I'll share that with our committee because it's good to know. It's good to be aware, and it impacts everybody. Another point that came out is that we approved the 25-26 school calendar. And that has, if anyone is wondering, 187 instructional days. We've got 2 PA days. There is an additional PA day designated now for elementary parent-teacher interviews. And all of the PA days, and as well as the secondary school exams, are synchronized with both the Halton board as well as our board. And again, I can send those dates for both the elementary and the secondary school if you want to know what they are. We have a skilled trades career fair coming up at St. FX, St. Francis Xavier in Milton. This is on February 22nd, 10 till 2. I have the flyer we're going to send out. And this is always a really cool event. It's there's oh my goodness, there's so many different I don't want to say vendors because it's not. It's like different apprenticeships. There's different aspects, different pathways for the kids to explore, and it's very hands-on as well, and a lot of engagement. And I've attended many of these over the years with my 4 kids, and it's really cool. So even if your kid is mildly interested in, or if you know people that are, I say go check it out. And lastly, something cool that was shared by our director, Klein, there in his weekly updates is that our board has purchased what's called Play Builder. And this is an online resource that supports phys ed planning. And so there's like hundreds, well, actually, I think it's like over 1,000 activities on there, as well as lessons and planning units that you can use from like K to grade 8, as well as I think the intermediate, and I don't know if it's high school, but is it? Okay. So that'll be used by right across the board. And there's going to be a teacher development or teacher training on our, I think, an upcoming elementary PA day. But anyway, I'm going to send the link because I started looking into this and I was like, actually, this is really, what a really cool app. So that'll be, it's for our teachers, but our students will be affected by it. And it does take into account accessibility and it has different aspects of it. So something to look into as well. And then if your organization, if there's something that you see that you may go, how does this align with our organization? You know, let's look into it and we can pick Director Klein's brain there because he brought this to our board. So it's something that I thought would be really neat to check out. So I'm going to send you the link as well for that. So at the end, Margaret's got a list of the links and we'll share them. And yeah, that's all for me. That's a lot. Any questions?
Brenda has one.
I'm not sharing, so I'm not gonna.
Do you? Well, it's probably through you, Trustee Powell, to Director Klein, or maybe not. But it's just, yeah. So I was going to put my hand down the minute you said accessibility, but just wondering if there's more information on that with respect to that. Like accessibility is one piece, but then is there also opportunities for inclusive inclusive activities or modifications to equipment or all of those sorts of pieces? That is a huge gap, not just at our board, but a number of boards when it comes to providing inclusive and accessible recreation opportunities for our students with disabilities. So John, is that part, like, is that pretty fulsome in that?
Two things. One is thanks for the credit, but the credit to do would be to staff, consultants and Superintendent Kroll, I would guess. I'm not sure if Cassandra has any thoughts on this. I would venture a guess that there would be attention to accessibility, but anybody here knows that we can't necessarily assume that. I could certainly look into that, but just the wide array of thousands of these, and it can be used for high school instructors as well, I think is really good. But if no problem for me to try and get some clarity on that, Brenda.
And that would be great. And, if you end up finding out that information, you can share it with the committee. Or I know that, for a number of teachers in high school or even in the elementary panel, and it's certainly not from a lack of desire, it's sometimes hard to come up with ways to figure out how to incorporate a wheelchair user, or when you're that particular module is on XYZ, or it might be hard to. So I think any of those tools are really valuable. So yeah, if you can certainly add that to your huge list of items, but I do think there'll be a number of parents and students who will be very appreciative, as well as the educators who have access to that type of resource. So that'd be great. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's the only question I had on the trustee report. Was there anything, did anybody have any other questions or needed clarity on something? Great. Okay, thank you so much, Trish. Over to you, Cassandra.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So I believe there's some on the screen of the report. There's going to be a few updates because I've wanted to include a couple of items that I'll speak to, but wanted to make sure you had the reference in the notes. So I've included some days remaining in January for recognition, as well as the February dates. And I just wanted to make sure that we were highlighting all the important dates for anyone who has or is asked about what's going on in the board over the next month. I've included an update to say that we do have the Spirit of Inclusion nominations. They've all been received. We do have a working group who's going to review, who has the inevitable task of reviewing all the applicants and identifying some board winners. The event, I believe, takes place in April, and we'd like to bring back the invitation to the committee, SEAC members who are available to be part of the presentation of those awards. And we'll make sure that we get you the details so you can save the date. But really excited to do that work and to just recognize the students who are out there who are charting paths despite having obstacles or challenges, and really a role model for their peers and their school communities. So really a pillar of who we are as a faith community, and really honored to be part of that initiative. I'm also going to plug that we do have a date for the Best Buddies Spring Mingle. It will take place on Tuesday, April 29th. It's during the day, so it won't conflict with any board meetings, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Holy Trinity has agreed to host. There will be some requests for donations and for some sweat equity, as we call it. So that information will come with the minutes for your consideration, and thanking you all in advance. Already mentioned.
When was that again? Sorry, when was that
Oh,
again?
sorry. Yeah, I said it quickly. Tuesday, April the 29th.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and it's Holy Trinity, if I didn't mention that. So, and the flyer is ready to go. And again, we're looking for donations. Did I mention that? I probably did. I'll mention it again. And some sweat equity. We'll need volunteers. So I'll just make sure that I've made those requests nice and early so that you can consider that. Mentioned already the update of the upcoming policy. So II-44, student mental health and well-being, is up for review. The last it was reviewed was May of 2022, so not too far. But we want to make sure that we get your valuable input. So please take a look as we approach the deadlines. I know there's usually a window where we need your feedback to align with the policy meeting date, which is May 13th. So probably our April meeting will probably be cutting a little bit close. So maybe we'll ask for feedback by March so that we have some time to understand your positions and make sure that those are included. Because I think the April meeting will be towards the end of the month, and that 2-week window can get really short really fast if we leave it to then. This month, so February, term 1 reporting will come to an end. And for both elementary and secondary, there's exams in secondary, of course. And then term 2 is actually starting, I think it's this coming week, so a week from today. We're still in the spirit of Christmas, if you can believe it, as we continue to reflect and have that reset, which is always nice, new year and a new liturgical year as part of that cycle. And I'm just going to share some updates from the managers in the department. So our EA managers facilitated a December itinerant EA team meeting covering specific topics, including our SC17 reviews, a debrief process related to incidents of escalation, and indicator response plans and safety plans. And we're always making sure we're reviewing these regularly so that we're keeping our practices responsive to our student needs and building on all of our positives and addressing any areas that we would like to improve upon. This direct attention also allows our IEA team to provide direct and effective support to our school-based EAs with a focus on prevention and student success. This month, February, the focus with the IEA team will be facilitating an effective debrief, and EA managers will provide updated information in coming meetings. Our IEA team recorded over 600 visits directly supporting school-based EA teams between the first few months of the school year to now. These visits support our safe management needs, BA and SLP program implementation, and of course, onboarding of our new staff, to name a few. From our Denise Coley, communication to parents and guardians, caregivers will be going out in February regarding spring after-school skill development programs to support entry-level social skills for students in grades 5 to 8. So details will be forthcoming. We're really lucky to be able to offer multiple sessions throughout the year for our kiddos who would benefit from it the most. And from our psychology department, our psychology staff prepared and recorded professional development resource supporting students with ADHD for educational assistants and other special education staff, which took place today on one of the PA days for elementary and the 31st of January, which is the PA day for secondary. Our psychology staff also conducted a 2-hour training on the administration and scoring of our educational achievement testing with the CATIA 3 for new certs that took place this month as well. So we're always trying to build capacity with our resource team, and that it's really great to have that cross collaboration between the two different disciplines. Some CYC updates. The Halton Catholic District School Board has been recognized with the Excellence in School Implementation Award by the Child Development Institute for outstanding work with the Stop Now and Plan. And now there's a link with a little news kind of media to highlight the work that we're doing. So I wanted to make sure that you had that accessible. Some social work updates. At the December SEAC meeting, it was expressed that it would be helpful to have information about mental health shared with caregivers. In response, we are very happy to provide what we're calling the Mindful Minute. It's a resource for parents, and that will be launching next month. It will be shared with parents and give caregivers via direct email, and digital copies of the newsletter will also be provided to schools to include in their newsletters and on social media. So thank you for the suggestion. And to Brenda's point about being active and providing voice, this is one of those ways where we're able to make a decision or receive that feedback, and it impacts the entire system. So thank you. And then finally, some updates from our coordinator and consultants. So today there have been 1,009 completed Learn Style sessions on read and write with students across our elementary schools and 58 sessions with our secondary schools. SEA is currently planning to deliver training on read and write and Mindomo platforms for our 4 essential skills teachers next month. And Project Search, the family information session will be held on February 6th at 7 p.m. at the Milton Hospital. And if you're looking for information about the program, we've included that link. And on Wednesday, January 8th, both the OTMH, which is the acronym for Oakville Trafalgar Memorial Hospital, and the Milton District Hospital and Project Search teams traveled to Food for Life in Burlington. And so we're really thankful for the Community Living North Halton Association or group for making this outside work experience possible for our interns. It was eye-opening and time well spent. In the 2 hours they were there, they packed over 2,000 pounds of food. Like amazing. So I will end there. I'm not sure if there's any questions about the report.
I don't see any, but could you please make a note to add me for help for April 29th?
Oh, okay. It's added. Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
and
you.
Rick has a question. You're
Yeah,
also
sorry, Rick, go
volunteering.
ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you, Rick.
actually, I'm gonna ask something that Trustee Agnew asked about how we can volunteer, which when they're setting up or donations and that kind of thing, how that works.
Yeah, so we're going to send out some communication with some more details so that you don't have to be forced or coerced into a decision right now, but certainly want to make sure that you are aware of the date and the plug. And so we'll give you the reading materials with the flyer. I think it's just in its final stages of being ready for distribution, but wanted to make sure you heard about it before you received the email with the information. So you'll have lots to consider, and we'll turn no one away. No one will be turned away. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think, Marianne, you have your hand up?
Yeah, thank you. Cassandra, one question in the agenda that you were reading, there was a part where you were mentioning a program for kids grades 5 to 8 that I believe included behavior support.
So it would be the after school skills development program. Is that what you're referring to?
Maybe because I saw that it was like the AVA, like in your list, and I believe it was also like speech.
I know Denise is on the
yeah, senior manager, speech language pathologist, behavior analysis update. That one. So
Denise, did you want to?
Sure.
Sorry,
We're going to be adding to the programming that we're offering through the after school skill development program. So there'll be information going out from schools directly to parents in February around opportunities to sign up. So we're hoping to offer this program across 3 sites for 6 weeks. The focus is really going to be on early social skills. So things like turn taking, emotional regulation, and playing games and conversation.
That's amazing. I was just thinking I don't know if I could trespass that to the Halton Down Syndrome Association, because as we have the age groups of the different kids are kind of very young, elementary, junior, and maybe that, I don't know, to give them like an awareness that this is coming, or there's going to be like an opportunity to apply for. I don't know exactly how will that parents will be invited to.
So information will go home in the newsletter, and parents will get a link to a form that they can complete indicating that they're interested and what site they're interested in attending. And then if we have more people interested than we have capacity to support, we'll do a lottery system to pick who the participants will be. And the programs will be supported by educators, speech language pathologists, behavior analysts, and child and youth counselors.
Okay, so will be kind of similar to the BADI program that's also kind of submitted to like a withdrawal or something.
Yeah, it's going to happen after school. So it'll happen after school from 4:30 to 5:30, and parents will be attending as well so that they can also learn some of the skills to support their children in terms of communication and social skill development.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Was there any other questions? I don't see any more hands up. So thank you so much for your report. So we are moving down to item number 10, which is SEAC discussion, item and questions. I didn't receive anything as far as items or discussions. I don't know, Margaret, if you received anything that people wanted to bring up for this evening? No. Okay. So meeting summary and the next steps. We have our next meeting on February the 24th. There's a couple of links that Trustee Powell will be sending out. Superintendent Jack Caldera will be sending out some information so we can get us sweating and moving for some volunteer opportunities. So you keep an eye out in your emails for some of those follow-up pieces. And obviously look forward to seeing everybody at our next SEAC meeting, and hopefully it's going to be in person. And then item number 13, which is resolution for absenteeism. Margaret, did we receive any regrets this evening?
Originally, but I think everybody's on the call now because it was online. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much. So we actually don't need a resolution for absenteeism. I think that's a first. So moving on to item number 4, which is our adjournment and our closing prayer. So if I could have someone make a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening.
I can do it.
I can do
That's Trish.
Okay. So moved by Trish, and is that a second, Marianne?
I can be the second.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great. Okay, and we'll move along to our closing prayer. Great. If you all join me in the sign of our faith, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Blessed are you, O God of all creation. Each day you spread before us the rich and wonderful diversity of the human family created in the divine splendor of your love. Fashioned in your image, you call us to love one another with the same tender care with which you brought us to creation. Each one of us is but one small part of the glory that is you. As we serve the students and families of the Halton Catholic District School Board on the Special Education Advisory Committee, fill us with your grace, guide us with your wisdom, and give us the strength and courage to do your work, so that it may always be said of our every act, God saw that it was good. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Have a good night.